Chapter 25. The person who will work in place of Jesus. We must become witnesses of the era of love. The person whom God raises as a witness must be able to speak of the work she had seen and heard. God does not establish just anyone as a witness. Jesus did not tell anyone about his resurrection beyond his disciples. That is why the disciples became witnesses. If the numbers of those who knew were large, how could it be a secret and how could they be witnesses? There are not many people to establish as witnesses. There are many people who listen to the words being proclaimed, but witnesses are a minority. A witness is someone who acknowledges the word from inside her spirit and has certainty. Jesus said in John 6:51, "I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats this bread will live forever, and the bread that I will give for the life of the world is my flesh." And having said this, the large number of those who followed him in the crowd all went away. When Jesus saw such people could not fulfill God's will if they were raised as witnesses, so he dropped the words of heaven and divided the crowd. He also chose the ones who received the word in the Spirit and made them into witnesses. We must know how great of a work it is to stand as witnesses. Just as Jesus' disciples became witnesses of his resurrection, we must now become witnesses of the era of love. The person who will work in place of Jesus. During the 3 years' time of Jesus' public life, he gave all of God's words, which he brought with himself, to the disciples. The reason Jesus gave the word to the disciples was that they were people who were to work in place of Jesus. After Jesus ascended, the work of the disciples began by the Holy Spirit's rest upon Mark's upper room. The disciples' work started at that time. And although the Holy Spirit is doing work until now, the works of the Holy Spirit in this era are gradually disappearing. This is because one era is lowering its curtain. That is why a person who is spiritually awake will feel that the inside of his or her spirit is struggling and drying up. No matter where one travels to fill oneself with the word, even though it is all over the place, Amos 8:11 reveals that the spirit is thirsty and hungry inside. Now, to restore this era, a new wind of the Holy Spirit will blow through the words of the era of love. Those who receive the words of the era of love are those who will work in place of Jesus. Because of this, the power of heaven will come down. Works that are more amazing than the miracles that arose through the disciples of Jesus will arise. The person who experienced is a witness. Human beings don't really know that they are being deceived by influences of evil from inside their own spirits. Now, God finds the lives that are pushed down by the world of evil. God is trying to raise up life and let us feel the taste of God's water. But if we cannot meet God, we cannot feel the taste of such water. The person who has met God and experienced and felt the taste of God's water can convey with confidence. The person who could not meet God cannot become a witness. The person who has met and experienced God directly is a witness. Such person becomes a leader. When God's things dry up in the person who experienced God's things and felt satisfaction in one's spirit, such person must throw oneself away and kneel with the determination to meet God. The person who had known the taste of the word through the Holy Spirit can distinguish the difference of taste when one eats the unsealed word of the era of love. That is why this person, throws oneself away before such word. When it comes to God's things, the stir must be there, and the experience with God's things must be there for the person to put one's life on the line and convey with confidence. The power of words is given to the person who experienced the things of God. However, God does not like the person who conveys, having rationalized God. In order for the works of saving lives to arise, faith towards God must be certain, and there must not be any wavering in front of truth, which says the word precisely is God. No matter what anyone says, certainty that the person I've met and experienced is God must stand. Though God is love itself, we must also experience that God is, on the other hand, a frightening being. God of the Hebrew Scriptures, Jehovah, was a God of fear and trembling. Now, the heart of being awestruck must be inside of us, so that we can work as leaders of the era of love. The witnesses of the era of love is a witness of joy. In our daily living, there are not many occasions that make us laugh. But if God changes things such that in all of our moments, joy arises, this is unfathomable and amazing work. If God changes things so that laughter comes out from a place where there is no laughter, if God changes the inside of our spirits into constant peace, then this is precisely Eden. It has become time, and the ocean water is coming in, so how could a human block that ocean? Now, the joy of Eden that the human cannot block comes flooding inside. Joy is exploding out from inside us due to God. So no matter how heavy my heart is, can it press down on such joy? I cannot block the joy of heaven with my strength. In the era of love, joy comes flooding out from the inside of the Spirit. With this joy, the whole entire world will be swept. God will do this amazing work, and God will raise us as witnesses of this work. However, this joy is not something that comes out whenever I please. God's spirit of joy must rest. Because God touches our spirits directly, heaven's things that are stronger than before come out. At that time, our things cannot come out. I do not laugh because I want to laugh, but God enters inside and touches me. If God takes a hold of me, I cannot restrain myself. Jesus said in John 3:12, "If I have told you about earthly things and you do not believe, how can you believe if I tell you about heavenly things?" So how could a person of the earth understand the laughter of heaven? When the work of God's kingdom appears, because they are secrets, even Jesus heard that he was crazy and possessed by a demon. Now, God makes us witnesses of this work. We are witnesses of joy. The witness of the era of love is a witness of joy. Why are young children so beautiful and lovely? It is because they laugh innocent laughs. Now, our images are not expressions of those who are buried in problems. The Spirit of God's joy must rest and change our laughs into the laughter of heaven. In the era of love, in order to change many spirits into Eden, God raises us as witnesses of joy.